next installment in my series of Goth icons. This time I'm doing Elvira, and we're really just focusing mostly on the crazy eyes with the colors that go all the way up and the winged liner that comes to a point in the center filled in with white, and pretty much that whole thing. Obviously not hair or anything because I don't know how to do that. But yeah, so today Elvira makeup next in my Goth icon series. Let me know if you like this series, and if you like this video, then please subscribe. I would appreciate that more than you could ever know. Okay, so the first shade I'm going in with is this light pink shade from the NYX Avant Pop Art Throb palette, and I'm just taking it on a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to start putting this in my crease as my transition shade. Basically, this is just a bunch of circular motions in order to create like a really diffused kind of light pink effect to blend out the purple that we're going to get to in a second. So I'm having my eye open so that I can kind of get that rounded crease shape, as you guys know that I like, and I just move back and forth to set the product down, and then circular motions to make sure it's really nice and blended out. Again, as with like most of my previous videos, a lot of this is just literally sitting there and blending until it's super smoky and nice and diffused. And so there's a lot cut out of this, I mean, as you could guess. So I'm blending this out until it's blending into my skin, and it's gonna make that really nice transition. Next, I'm taking this like shimmery fuchsia shade from the palette, and I'm on a flat shader brush. I'm just packing this onto my inner and outer crease. My issue with this palette was that like this color was not pigmented and fell off. Like, it's kind of not a very good eyeshadow. So I had like a couple of trials here, and you'll see them. I kept it just so that you could see kind of like what I went through with this palette. So I just packed it on by itself over my eyeshadow base, and that did not work out. Everything fell down, and as you can see, like as I kind of try and move it around, all the product falls away. So instead I just took my fluffy brush and I kind of blended that and made that really light layer that actually stuck into kind of like a transition. And then I tried again and it failed again. I ended up just brushing all the product away and going in and like packing it on wet. I'm packing it on wet right now. And that still wasn't pigmented enough for me, and you'll see later I will go in and do something else. But for now, we just want to fill that outer corner and then kind of pull it out towards the tail of the brow in sort of a wing shape. And I just do this by dragging the product with the brush after I pat on the bulk of it, actually on the outer part of my eyelid. And then same thing on the inner corner. It's pretty easy there because you kind of already have that round eye shape that you can use. And so just pack it on and then brush it back and forth until it's kind of blended side to side and there's not like a harsh line on the center of your lid, if that makes sense. So yeah. And then I'm just taking another fluffy brush because I don't want to mess up like the first one I started with by getting it dirty. So I'm just taking another fluffy brush and blending that out because, like I said, it still wasn't pigmented enough for me, so I had to figure something else out. So again, I just basically made this layer into like a transition shade and blended it into the pink. So I'm taking a break from the purple for a second. I'm packing a little bit of white eyeshadow base on the center of my lid just with my finger, and I just use like the finger that I didn't use to put the product down to kind of blend it side to side, just so there's no harsh white line or anything. And then I'm taking this kind of like electric eel blue from the palette on a smaller brush, and I'm just packing that onto the center of my lid because she has the blue in the center and then like the fuchsia shade on the side. So I'm just packing this all over the white and making sure it's nicely pigmented. And I'm not sure if it's like the difference between the matte and the shimmer eyeshadows in the palette, but the matte one definitely seemed, not just because of the white eyeshadow base, but it just seemed to be a little bit higher quality. I'm not sure why, but anyways, I'm packing it over a base, so it's gonna stick and it will look pigmented because of that. And I'm just packing it on and again like blending it side to side into the purple and also up into my crease to make sure it's blended out up there and the line isn't too harsh. So just blend it side to side so that there's no white showing as well on your lid. And then I'm taking the white eyeshadow base and I'm packing this over the purple area too, and this is how I finally got the purple to stick. I'm packing it on out there and then packing the color on and then just moving it side to side like I did with the blue. I tried to wing it out like again, but it failed that way, so I have to later pack on more white eyeshadow base to create that wing. But for now I'm just making sure it's nice and pigmented right where I already put the base, and then I'm blending everything together. Again, it's going to be blending every step in order to make this seamless, especially just because of like the odd placement that we're kind of doing. So I'm putting a little bit more on the inner corner and then packing it onto the inner corner and blending it in the blue again, just like I did with the outer corner. You see me using both sides of the brush because typically the eyeshadow can like get around to the other side of the brush when your brush is thin enough, so I just don't want to waste any product, and I'm using both sides. As you can see, packing whatever excess is on the other side and just making sure we can get as much pigmentation as possible. And then I'm making a wing with the white eyeshadow base, and I'm placing that onto the wing just like I did with the inner and outer corners of the eye, and I'm kind of blending it into the outer corner as well, just so we get that seamless sort of transition like you see here. And then I'm just blending everything out, and I actually spent a really long time blending for this step just because it is a harsh line, as you can see, and we want to mitigate that as much as possible. And then I'm just taking the brush I used for my eyeshadow base, a dense synthetic brush with whatever base is left on it, and I'm just patting around the outer corners to kind of get rid of any excess that I blended up too high. And then I'm packing more blue on and putting that up higher because we are going to blend it all the way up. We just want to make sure that our mapped out shape is there and easy before we blend up too high, just so that everything looks perfect in the end. And so again, pack everything a little bit higher up and then blend again with your fluffy brush. And now we're going to go directly under the brow and on top of the brow with the white eyeshadow base so that we can pack on the purple there, because she has it blended all the way up. Her makeup is like blended all the way up above her brow. So, and then I'm just going to take the fluffy brush with the purple shade, and I'm just going to use that to really lightly apply the product up there, almost like it's a transition shade up into above my brow, because we want it to be darker on the lid, closer to the eye, and blend up lighter as we get up above the brow. So I'm literally just using a fluffy brush with that purple. You could hardly see it, but it is there, and it does look really blended and diffused, which is what you want. So I'm just going to blend that all the way around until we have a really nice light wash of purple all around the eye, above the brow, everywhere. And then same thing on the inner corner, above that inner corner purple. I'm packing on the white eyeshadow base with my finger, and then I'm just gonna pack on the color with this fluffy brush and kind of blend it out and make it super diffused all the way into like the inner corner of my nose, and then blending it around to the inner corner of my eye, up towards the brow, and then side to side, just so that there's no harsh lines anywhere at all. That's the only way that you can kind of pull off putting this color all over the place like this, is just making sure it's super duper blended out. So again, on top of the brow, same exact thing. I blend it around the inner corner of the brow a little bit, but not too much, just making sure to blend side to side until there's just a super duper light wash of purple going on. And then next I'm going back in with the base on the center so that we can pack blue onto there. Again, making sure that there's no harsh lines with the white base. And then taking the same brush that I used for the blue, I'm going to do the same basic like blending motions rather than packing motions, just to get a really light wash of blue up below that brow. And then I blend it side to side to make sure there's no white base showing. And then I'm going to pack the white base onto my under eye. And then I'm going to pack the purple on under my eye solely because that's what she has. So I'm not going to blend this out. We want a harsh line with the purple that's going to go under our eyeliner, so it's basically like stacked color. And so I'm just using that shader brush again, and I'm just filling in the entire white. And the reason I'm dragging it back and forth is not because I'm blending, it's because I'm making sure that there's no stickiness left from the base. I'm making sure it's like a velvety, smooth kind of area that we have the eyeshadow on, so that no creasing happens. I'm basically like setting the base with the eyeshadow. And next I'm going to do the winged liner before I do anything else. I'm going to use the Tartist Amazonian Clay Paint Liner, which is like a little squeeze tube with like paint-like liner that comes with this little brush. And it is actually the ideal brush I've found for the liner. I don't know why, but it's just like a small bent liner brush. And I'm just going to start by lining my eyes. I'm making it a little more thick than I normally do, but not so thick that it covers the lid. And then I'm dragging it out on a nice wing that kind of goes all the way up to the tail of my brow. Later I'm going to build up the wing and make it a little bit larger, a little bit more bold like Elvira's, but for now I just want to line the eyes evenly all the way from inner to outer corner. And what I suggest is always just using really small strokes to build and make those lines perfect, and then taking kind of a lot of product to fill it in and make it really dark and kind of blend it out and make the entire thing just as dark as you want. But again, small strokes first, just to make your lines perfect. As you can see here, I'm just really taking my time to make the lines straight so there's no bumpiness that could make this look, you know, less perfect. And now, as you can see, I'm building up the wing a little bit now that I'm comfortable with everything else and there's a little bit less product on the brush. And now to create that inner corner wing, I'm basically doing the same motions that you do on the outer corner. I'm just dragging it downward and inward rather than upward and outward. And I'm just creating a wing on that outer corner by dragging the line down and then connecting it like right to my tear duct. It's basically mapped out for you with your natural eye. Down from the inner corner, back into the tear duct, and then just go back and perfect those lines with small strokes so that you know everything's connected and everything's perfectly smooth. It is kind of awkward, which is why you just need to take your time and practice and get the hang of it first, but you will get it, I promise. And now I'm just gonna line my entire lower lash line with one nice straight line right up tight to the lash line. Super easy, just connect it to that inner corner, connect it to that outer corner, and just drag it all the way across. Make sure there's no bumpiness and that it's right up against the lash line. And then next, I'm just cleaning up with a Q-tip with a little bit of essential oil. And I'm just cleaning up that inner corner because again, the position is awkward. It can be a little difficult to get like a perfect feathered out winged line, but you can always come back and clean it up. And then next I'm taking NYX white liquid liner and I'm just filling in that inner corner little piece with the white all the way from the tear duct all the way up to the inner corner, basically just coloring it in like a little triangle. And then I'm just gonna do my upper and lower mascara to get it out of the way and prep for falsies. Super simple. And I'm using some really big, large, and in charge fluffy lashes. These are Marilyn lashes that come in the Hollywood Lash Kit by LA Splash. And I'm just applying these because they're gonna be nice and big and they're not gonna get lost in kind of like all of the crazy liner and eyeshadow we're doing. So you just always wanna go for like a really big lash for a look like this. And then I'm just gonna do my contour and highlight. And I'm basically just gonna make my cheekbones like a little bit more intense by, instead of starting at my ear to do my contour, I'm gonna start up closer to my temple, and then I'm going to drag it down about to where like my pupil is, and that's just going to make the cheekbones look a little bit more high up and, you know, villainous, I guess, gothic, I don't know. And I'm contouring my nose, which is optional. I just always do it. For this, I am using the Wet n Wild Color Icon contouring palette in the color Caramel Toffee, just because it's a really nice neutral contouring shade. It's not too cool or too warm, which is what we want for a look like this. And then I'm just going to highlight my nose, my cupid's bow, my forehead, and the tops of my cheekbones. And now for blush, I'm using Milani Rose Powder Blush in the color Tea Rose, which is a nice muted pink. My theory on her is that kind of like the reason her blush looks so intensely pink in pictures is because the saturation is so high. And so I'm just using a muted blush instead because I don't want it to clash too much with the eyes or the lips. So next, to line my lips, I'm using this red lip liner from Essence Cosmetics, and these lip liners are really, really good. I think they're underrated. They're just nicely pigmented and leave nice clean lines, and this color matches the lipstick I'm going to use perfectly. And so I'm just going to line my entire lips with this, and I'm going to make sure that the bottom lip, since my bottom lip's pretty full, I'm just going to line it exactly to where my natural line is. But then when I get to the top lip, I overline it quite a bit and just make the center look really pouty by kind of like overlining the cupid's bow but then connecting it to where my natural lip is as I get to that outer corner. And this way you just get that really nice kind of sexy pout in your lips. And then the lipstick I'm using is Red Ruby by Avon, which is just a nice light cool toned red that matches this lip liner. And I'm just gonna fill in my entire lips, and I don't even need to get like, I don't need to touch where the lip liner is because they match so perfectly, so I can just fill in wherever the lip liner isn't, and this way I'm not risking messing up any of my lines or any bleeding or anything like that. And then I'm just gonna clean it up with concealer a little bit to make sure our lines are super straight, because Elvira would never have like fucked up bumpy lips, you know that. And so I'm just gonna line my lips with this CoverGirl concealer in Ready Set Gorgeous, I think. Ready Set Gorgeous concealer. It's the lightest shade. It's the lightest drugstore concealer that you could find, I promise. And then just blend that out until it blends into your skin. And this also creates kind of like a nice lip highlight around your lips, which again plumps them and makes them look nice. And that is the whole tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next Goth Icon makeup tutorial series thing. Okay.